In the world of business technology, pretty much everything is moving in one direction. Bigger, more consolidated, more integrated. But something strange is happening in the world of governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC. It's not just growing, it's actually splitting apart. So today, we're going to dig into why this massive market is diverging and what that means for pretty much any company trying to stay ahead of the game.
This quote from the recent RSA Conference just nails it. The GRC world isn't one big highway anymore. It's splitting into two separate tracks, creating what everyone's calling a two-speed market. And what that really means is that companies now have to make a choice between two fundamentally different ways of thinking about risk.
And just so we're clear, we're not talking about some small niche industry here. This is a $60 billion global market we're talking about. When an industry that big changes direction this dramatically, it sends shockwaves through every single business, changing how they operate, how they manage threats, and how they play by the rules.
Okay, so let's get into the why. What on earth is causing this great divergence? Why is the old one-size-fits-all approach to GRC just not cutting it anymore? Well, it really all boils down to one word: complexity.
Just think about it. Not that long ago, GRC was a pretty straightforward field. It was mostly about audits and some internal controls. But today, its scope has absolutely exploded. We're talking data privacy, AI governance, third-party supply chain risk. It touches basically every corner of a modern business. And it's really this kind of domino effect. The risks out there get way more complicated, which means governments create more and more regulations. All of a sudden, just being compliant is table stakes. It's the absolute bare minimum you need just to be in business. And when the landscape gets that complex, it becomes impossible for one single piece of software to be a master of everything. So the market has no choice but to split up and specialize. And all of this specialization has basically carved out two very clear paths forward. Now, they're both heading to the same destination, which is managing risk well, but they are built for two completely different types of travelers, two completely different types of companies.
And this right here is the heart of it all. This is the two-speed market in a nutshell. On one side, you've got the titans, the big enterprise-integrated platforms. Think of these as the central nervous system for GRC in a massive organization. They're deeply customizable, they integrate everywhere, and they're built for complex oversight. And on the other side, you've got the speedsters, the modern, focused tools. These guys are all about speed, automation, and getting you up and running yesterday. They're perfect for teams that need to solve a specific problem and solve it fast.
So what's the engine that's powering this whole shift? Well, no surprise, it's technology. Specifically, automation and AI are the two forces that are completely rewriting the GRC playbook.
Let's get one thing straight. Automation is no longer a nice-to-have feature, it is the absolute baseline. It doesn't matter if you're using a giant enterprise platform or a nimble focused tool, the expectation now is it is going to automate the tedious stuff like collecting evidence and monitoring your controls 24/7. The days of chasing this stuff in spreadsheets are, thankfully, coming to an end.
And then you add AI to the mix, and this is where it gets really, really cool. AI isn't here to replace people, it's here to give them superpowers. Just imagine an AI that reads a brand new regulation and, bam, instantly suggests which of your internal controls probably apply. Or it sits through a mountain of data, categorizing risk for you, flagging weird anomalies that a human might never have spotted. That's not replacement, that's a massive upgrade.
But, and this is a huge but, AI is not taking over, not even close. GRC decisions carry huge weight, both legally and financially. Regulators and auditors demand to know why a decision was made, and they want to hear it from a person. AI, for all its power, just can't handle the kind of nuanced, contextual judgment calls that are at the very heart of smart risk management.
This quote just says it perfectly. Think of AI as the ultimate co-pilot. It's handling the instruments, crunching the numbers, and pointing out things on the horizon. But at the end of the day, there is still a skilled human practitioner in the pilot's seat, with their hands on the controls, making the final call.
And this brings us to what might be the single most important point in all of this. In this new tech-heavy world of GRC, the human element, the skilled practitioner, has become more valuable than ever before.
This is such a powerful idea. You can go out and buy the most expensive, most powerful GRC software on the planet, but without the right people, the right strategy, and the right culture behind it, all you've really bought is a very, very expensive dashboard. The technology enables the work, it doesn't do the work.
The role of the GRC professional has totally transformed. They're no longer just the auditor sitting in a back room checking boxes.
Today's best practitioners are strategic partners to the business. Their job is to weave risk and compliance thinking into the fabric of the organization, turning it from a chore into something that actually helps the business move faster and safer.
So where do humans still have the unbeatable edge? Right here. A tool can't read between the lines of a new regulation to understand the intent. It can't design a risk strategy that perfectly fits your company's goals. And it definitely can't find that delicate balance between locking things down and letting your teams innovate. That takes wisdom, not just data.
Okay, so we know the market is splitting, technology is a game changer, and human skill is critical. So what does that mean for you? How do you actually succeed in this new GRC landscape? Let's walk through the playbook.
Well, the experts have boiled it down to 3 core principles. First, and this is the most important one, strategy before software. Figure out what you're trying to achieve first, and then go find the tech that helps you do it. Second, find that sweet spot between a tool that's powerful and a tool that your team will actually use. And finally, break down the silos. Don't let GRC be some separate thing. Weave it into the daily workflow of the entire organization.
Now here's a more advanced way to think about it. Think in layers. Your system of record is your foundation. That's your big, stable enterprise platform where all your core policies and governance frameworks live. Then, your systems of execution are the agile, focused tools you plug in to automate day-to-day tasks. This layered approach gives you a rock-solid, stable foundation with all the cutting-edge flexibility you need to move fast. And so we end with really the only question that matters. Is your approach to GRC just a checkbox? Is it a chore you do to keep the auditors happy? Or is it a strategic engine that makes your business more resilient, more efficient, and more trustworthy? In this new, divergent market, the choice and the competitive advantage that comes with it is all yours.